this is like a lesson to anyone out there that if you find that you're a natural at something, don't push it to the side. Like, celebrate that, hey, this comes easily to you. This is something I'm natural at. You're good at it, especially if you enjoy it.
Thank you very much for accepting my invitation yet again to be. Now it's got a name. I have named it the Phoenix Experience,
Ooh.
which I had to put a lot of thought into somewhat because I mean I went to see if there's a Phoenix podcast, but then that didn't sound the best in my head. I mean, I think I used it once as the Phoenix podcast, but then I thought, what can we do differently? And the Phoenix Experience came on. So welcome to the Phoenix Experience.
Yes, I love that.
Oh my god. Okay, so we've got Mama T here. She is my second time around. Only this is the first time we're actually gonna put it out, but we recorded once and it was a complete shit show. So we're here again for part 2 of more of this goodness that you bring. So hello and welcome.
Thank you so much for having me, Phoenix. It's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, I love it. Oh, and you're wearing your cool earrings this time too. I think you had the same ones last time. I just love them.
They're totally a part of my aesthetic, so
Mhm.
I would not be surprised.
Yes. So I don't know where to go from here. That's it. I'm already confused. Okay, maybe start with a little bit about yourself and your background, who you are and what you do, maybe how you grew up, anything like that, whatever you would like to share.
All right. So we're going to have like a 30-year long.
Yes, you
No,
can
I'm
do
just kidding.
that.
All right. So, friends, I'm Tiara, aka Mama T. I am a mentor, a guide, a healer, an oracle, and I have been in this work. I feel like it's a life's journey, but I think consciously, I would say I've been working with the esoteric, as in like law of attraction, manifestation, rituals for the past 7 years. I've been a tarot and oracle reader for the past 4 or 5 years at this point. And it all just beautifully showed up for me from starting my own business. I think I started my first business was as a health and wellness coach, selling different shakes and exercise things, and it wasn't going the way that I wanted it to go. And I also wasn't like passionate about it. It was like someone else, a friend had asked me to join, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And then like I received like no training, and I had all these expectations of like, dude, I used to play rugby, I used to do, all this health stuff. So of course I have the community that's going to back what I have going on. And I realized I wasn't really backing myself. So I dropped out of that. I focused again at that time on my acting career, and I did come into different certifications for movement and work along the way. But it was more like, hey, I really love this modality, so I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna move with it, and I had classes and stuff, and it was great. And it really was funny how it showed up because in those aspects, both times I had classes, I was literally asked by the owner or like the manager of group fitness to be like, hey, we love your energy. I don't know if you're certified in anything, but I would like you to show up and I'll pay for you to do this and I'll do that. And it was magical for that. And I shifted to owning a wine business, actually. And I love wine. I think it's amazing. I can cork dork all day. So if anyone wants to ask me wine questions, pairings, all that kind of stuff, feel free to reach out. I love it. It makes me so happy. And so at that time, I was again like, okay, well, how do I better monetize this on a grander scale? So I was going into people's homes, doing tastings, and that was fun and great and wonderful. And I was expanding through the connections I would make at these tastings with new people, new hosts, so on and so forth. But I was like, dude, we have this whole thing called the internet. There should be like a way for me to reach like people all across the country. I don't have to be, at the time I was living in Virginia, like I don't have to be just Virginia based. Like let's grow, let's expand. expand. And from there, I figured out how to do Zoom tastings, and it just miraculously joined some coaching communities where they were teaching how to like coach and how to show up live on social media, how to post and market on your social media. And through there, someone just happened to mention the law of attraction. Like they were like, I noticed my success amplify when I really started believing in myself and believing in manifesting more clients and believing in this. And I was like, tell me more. I need to know more. And I watched the documentary. And from there, it just kind of opened so many doors towards getting life and business coaching certified, doors to getting like my Reiki master teacher initiation, and the doors to learning tarot and oracle. And that's what brought me basically here. I quit the wine business about 2 months ago. Still love wine again, but I was like, you know what? It's really time to focus in on me and what I want to really bring to the world, my unique medicine, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I love that
Mhm.
because we all have our own medicine, right? That is just waiting there. And it's interesting you're saying that you only like 2 months ago started jumping into your own self more, which is, if you think about it, baby fresh, right? It's so baby fresh. And talking about the medicine, that you bring into the world, I feel like there's so many of us that come into the world, experience some things up until a certain age, and add some trauma in there if needed. Some people know. I think there's a lot of people in the world that have had like an easier, but even there's little bits of trauma. We go through stages of that, then we go through the stage of healing. And then after the healing stage comes the activation, which I somehow feel that's the point where I'm at right now. Healing never ends. I don't believe that here, as long as we're alive, we're forever going to heal. And it sounds like you're in your activation stage too of bringing your medicine to the world, as you put it. So, what does that look like for you now? Like, what,
Yeah. I,
what?
I would say to like talk about more about that activation stage. For me, I had like Mama T Energy as a business for a couple of years now, but I was trying to blend it with my wine business. Even before, like I even have like an LLC called A Bubbly Life. And so that was like, oh, like it's a bubbly life. I have bubbles from like champagne, prosecco, cava, that kind of thing. And everyone describes my personality as bubbly. And I have this spiritual coaching aspect. And so it's all encompassing. And then I realized that I was not focusing my energy. And that's why I really made the shift to like let go of wine and fully like step in and activate. It felt like I was letting go of that thing, that my like comfort zone, if that makes
Mm-hmm,
sense, right? So really stepping out of my comfort zone, like no realizing that, this part and aspect of my business was hasn't been in alignment for quite some time. So why am I holding on to it? I would tell myself, well, I want to do this so that I can keep my freebies whenever I go wine tasting. Like, that was like I was like, I'll just say that, continue being a consultant so I can do this. And then I was like, that makes zero sense. Like you go to Napa maybe once every couple of years. You go to Temecula maybe again once every couple of years. It's not like you're doing this that often. So stop trying to justify leaking energy, right? And
mm-hmm,
so I was just like, you know what? Let's bring that energy back. Let's call it back, and let's really focus on what it is that I desire, right? And that allows me to really be step fully into who I am, the medicine woman, the oracle, the high priestess. I actually pulled some cards for myself this morning, and part of that reading was about my business. And one of the cards that came up for me was the high priestess, and it was saying like showing up. Like the message I received from that card was like showing up as the high priestess in your business, showing up knowing because you know, and sharing what you know with like full confidence and conviction. And that's where I need to like push forward. And so this is where I can focus my energy and continue to move forward in my power.
mic drop, boom. I feel like this conversation, this is what I love about doing these. Every time I have a conversation with somebody, it's a reflection of what's going on in my life, because you said something about doing everything with full power and your your wholeness, you bring all your power forward. And knowingness, I think there's a certain knowingness that you can embody, when you actually do the things that are aligned with you. So right before we started recording, I had this record yourself, because I do, besides doing the podcast, I have what's my little monologue of my dear diary, of whatever's going on in my head. So I had this little clip of, I really feel that I'm holding myself small, keeping myself small,
Hmm.
and now you're talking about this, and how stepping outside of your comfort zone of the blanket that the wine tasting was offering, and I feel like me doing this, for example, is really stepping out of my comfort zone, but also stepping into that more aligned, my medicine kind of a thing, my being in my power, being in my what did you call it? Oh my god, I know this, the what's the lady, that the card that you pulled out, the high priestess,
The
Jesus,
high priestess,
why
yes.
could I not think of the word? Oh my god, being in that high priestess energy, of the knowing, of the embodying of all that. So what now, because you said about you pulled this for your business somewhat, right? So what does that look like in your business? Like, are there specific steps that you're taking towards expanding, or looking to collaborate with other people? Who knows? I don't know.
Yes, I am really open to receiving. It's kind of like collaboration, most definitely showing up on other people's podcasts, collaborate. Like I literally had a moment last night where I saw someone on TikTok post this like wonderful affirmation, and it was like, let's see, it said, every time I get a call, no, it was every time I get a notification, I get paid. So basically, talking about receiver energy, really wonderful affirmation. And I was like, yes, I love this.
Uh-huh.
And I found myself in the middle of the getting ready to like make a comment and just like engage from that like spot. And I was like, but if I am a like business owner, if I am stepping into my like business owner $1 million mindset, would I just simply be commenting on somebody's, or would I like, is this a space to collaborate? Because I was like, I realized I was typing a lot of words, and I was like, it would be so much easier if I could just make a video, right? And then I was like, oh
Yeah.
wait, there's like the stitch aspect to TikTok, so why not stitch it? And I stitched it, and this was like late last night, so I stitched it, posted it, and then this morning I woke up to the creator had like liked it, had favored it, had commented, and was like so excited. And I like to save the videos that I create on TikTok, and I took that and I was like, you know what, I'm going to post it on Instagram as well. And I invited them to be a collaborator, and they were like, yes, of course. And then again, they hyped it up on the other platform, and then I messaged them and I was like, you know what, I really just love your energy, your vibe, I totally would have you on my podcast. And they were like, I think I would love that. So it's just like these opportunities always show up when we're really like stepping into that ownership of what it is that we desire, what it is, who it is that we are, our magic, our medicine, and really acknowledging that. So it's also showing up with my knowledge, not like acting like I'm a little baby,
Mm.
little baby chicken nugget in this world, and like looking for somebody else to like validate or edify my belief structure or edify my work. I can edify it for myself. I know my magic is powerful and potent. I know what it is that I offer to the world is powerful and potent, from my readings, right? Someone might say $44 for 11 minutes. Where's the value in that? And I'm like, dude, I can bring transformative messages in such a short time. Like all of my readings for myself usually are 3 cards or less, and I get so much information from it. So like, 11 minutes could overwhelm you if we keep pulling for 11 straight minutes. And there's space for also offering Reiki and energy healing. And I've built on my own personal energy healing practice based off of the Reiki knowledge that I've had, and learning other modalities as well. So it just continues to grow and grow and grow. So there's just so much magic available for you and me and us as like a whole entire collective. So it's just fire. And as I say fire, my like fire alarm for my building is going off. So it is just
Oh my
insane.
god, do you need to go or anything?
No,
This
I'm
is
totally
crazy.
fine. It's fine. It just these things just happen. And let me know if you can hear it. If it's coming through and bothering, then that's one thing. But we are all good to go.
Oh my god. As long as you're not in any danger, that's cool with me. That is so funny. Oh my god. I love that so much. I love the part that you said about the collaborations, because I feel that so strongly. Even in my life, I've noticed that I can only do so much on my own, and the way that you described, the way that you activated that collaboration or started the snowball effect of it and what it exploded that's pretty awesome. I love that. And of course, people are going to invite you on their podcast because look at you. That's so fucking amazing. You've got that energy, and I feel like I'm glad that we're doing this again because I feel like you're more relaxed. Maybe I'm not reading this right, but I feel you're more relaxed, more in another kind of a vibe this time. I fucking love it. I love it. That's all I can say. And the alarm going off, that's even better.
Right? It is all perfect. It is all magical. And like, you can't make this up. There are so many signs and guides from God, source, the universe, whatever you believe in, the divine. I truly believe that there's always messages here and ready and waiting for you. And I'm going to take a second and close the door so it's not so loud.
Yes.
And then I'll be right back.
Okay. Oh my god, this is so fun. Oh man, so what is this? Because see, I totally go for signs and synchronicities and whatever. So what is this? What would you see this as? Do you look into this stuff like this? Do you have your own interpretations? And I love how this is going, by the way. It's got a completely different vibe to the other one, completely different direction. I fucking love it. Anyway, why do you read? That's what I was asking. Do you read into these things, like your own little guidance of sorts?
Honestly, like if it doesn't expand me, then I don't make it mean anything. So,
Oh,
I could hear like the fire alarm go off and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, like does this mean that I'm on the wrong podcast?" Like we
right.
could go down like, this is the second time something's gone awry, like
Yes,
technically that's completely out of our control.
yeah.
What does that like, we could I could totally down spiral, but what does that serve? Right? Does that
Mhm.
feel expansive? Does that feel like it's going to bring forward any sort of like higher frequency? Is it going to bring forward any sort of manifestation that I'm actually looking to create in my life? No, it's going to bring forward more anxiety. It's going to bring forward more like self doubt. It's going to literally down spiral. So I see this as an opportunity, one, to give anyone who might need to hear an opportunity to listen to, okay, when I look at my life, am I making it mean something positive or negative? Like, this is an opportunity for me to teach a lesson. Like, that's
Yes,
what I look at. It's an opportunity for a lesson. It's an opportunity to laugh. I also think it's amazing because I literally said fire and then the fire alarm goes off. Like, to me, I see that as confirmation. Like,
yes,
this is this is expansive energy for me. And so that's how I like to look at it. And I really want to encourage everyone else who's watching, listening, to have that same mindset of, okay, like when things show up, how is this showing up for me to grow and expand? We are constantly growing and expanding. And that reminds me, at the beginning I heard you say that we're always healing. And in my mindset, I like to think of it more as we're always growing, because when I think of like, if I'm always healing, then that means that there is some sort of distortion in
mhm,
myself. And I want to allow myself to be healed. Like, I am healed. Yes, there is more that I'm going to learn and grow and expand upon from this already healed state. So I like to say I'm always growing. I'm always learning. I'm all like, the wise person knows that they know nothing, right? And so I am owning my wisdom and knowing that, yes, I have so much knowledge within me, but I also know there's so much more knowledge out there that I get to choose to embody as I grow, expand, and learn from others. And another thing is, we get to choose, right? So I get to choose this expansive energy, or I can choose to make this energy down spiral. And that is every moment of every single day. We get to choose the perspective that we take in this world. And I'm not saying that my perspective is right or somebody else's perspective is right. Everyone gets to be right, right? Because we are the authors of our own story. So we are writing from our own personal perspective. We are creating our life from our own personal perspective. So I allow for that duality to exist. I allow for my beliefs to be my beliefs and somebody else's beliefs to be somebody else's beliefs, and it to all be perfect and wonderful and magical.
Oh my God, I love that. Thank you so much for that. I love you with the healing part, because I agree, right? I know that there's nuances to it and whatever. Maybe healing wasn't the right wordage, but it doesn't matter. Even see it as there's so much energy happening right now. Of course, the fire alarm is gonna go off. Like in my head, there's so much energy, like going on in here and expanding like you were describing it, expansive and growing. Just growing and expanding. Anyway.
I love it. Yeah, I see that too. Like anytime tech like shuts down, I'm just like, oh well, I was just sending so much
Yes.
energy through the Zoom call, through the this that like it couldn't even handle it.
Yes. Yeah, and I totally agree. I totally believe that we all have those little superpowers, not so little, little not so little. Just cutting off electricity or internet going away and anything like that. I feel like I asked you this in the other one, but would you like to share the story of your Mama T name?
Yes, I love this story. It's a fun story. So Mama T came to me actually in high school. I was I wasn't in our JROTC program. I was just friends with a lot of people that were in it at the time. And I had uh really befriended, like, I guess he was the battalion commander. So it was like the highest station that you could have within that program at the high school level. And so I was like, really good friends with him. And I remember like I would bring snacks and cook and do random things for like him and like our group of friends in our little circle. And then people often would come to me with like questions about this and that and the other. And I always loved it because, especially like relationship questions, like what should I do with my boyfriend or my girlfriend? Da, 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 da. And at that point, I'd never even been in a romantic relationship. So the fact that people would ask me for my advice on that always was like so funny to me. But I also started to recognize that I don't have to have the experience in order to have, guidance for it, whether it is like, a channeling from God. And at that time, I didn't have that kind of verbiage to realize that I could be channeling information for them. But it was more just like I just knew, like I spoke from a deep knowing, and people hopefully followed my advice. And so it just it built from there. And so then, the battalion commander was like, oh, okay, well, Mama T, just like one day he was like, Mama T, da 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 da. And I was like, all right, cool. And then next thing you know, it just started spreading through the ROTC and like through my school. Just it became the nickname. Like everyone called me T, but now there's a mama in front of it because I have that nurturing energy. I have that advice, that guidance energy. And so it was like a thing. High school, I graduated, left, moved across the country. No doubt. And so I was actually, it resurfaced about a year and a half ago, I would say. I was out at a bar with some coworkers at the time, and one of the girls was going through just a tough time, and she just needed some like helpful guidance. She wanted like some affirmations, so I had her say affirmations with me. I sent her some Reiki, and she was like, in tears, just like, oh my gosh, I feel so free. This is amazing. And one guy was standing off to the side watching this, and he was like, Mama T just got it. And I was like, what? And like unbeknownst to him, I was literally in the middle of like figuring out how am I rebranding, right? A bubbly life doesn't, really fit for my business anymore. Like, who am I in my business? How am I showing up? Like, this makes so much more sense. And then it just was like, duh, Mama T, like how, like full circle. It's probably been a solid 10 years since someone
Mhm.
said called me this, but it's back now and I love it. And then next thing you know, everyone at my job was calling me Mama T. Like it was a thing. And I shifted all of my social media and like how I show up in the world as Mama T. Like my dad calls me Mama T now. Like it's like it's a thing.
So cool. That's the coolest part, I think. When your parents start calling you new names, that's like you've made it into the world.
Right? It's like, okay, like people are listening. People it resonates.
Yes, and I feel like you're wearing it so well too. I feel like it suits you so well. You've got that energy, that caring energy about you, so it's perfect. And it's interesting because I don't know where I heard this long, long time ago. Maybe I read it somewhere about people's names and nicknames, for example, and how much of an influence they have on ourselves and who we are and how we present ourselves to the world. Because you could be, I can't think of any like denigrating shorty, let's say. That's not that bad, but shorty, people call you shorty all the time. Well, or I don't know, dumbass, let's say, not a nickname, but everybody calls you dumbass. You become the dumbass, right? You being called Mama T, and it's got such a loving energy around it. Of course you're gonna end up embodying all that more and more, and that's what's gonna come out and come across as all that loving, caring, nurturing energy that you bring forth. Oh,
Yes. That
it's
and it's so true. If you talk about I love the science experiment where they talk about ice cubes, right? And so you could talk to water, and
yeah.
I am a huge proponent of like speaking to my water. I tell it affirmations every morning. I like talk affirmations, and I envision that I'm sipping and this a magic whatever I've said to myself for the day, I'm envisioning it going into my body, filling all of my cells, because I know that when we speak, it is spells. That's why they call it spelling,
Hmm.
right? Like we are creating as we speak. So going back to that science experiment, you spoke they people would speak to water and they would say these beautiful things like, I love you, you're gorgeous, you're wonderful, you're smart, you're intelligent, this loving nurturing energy. And then they would freeze it, and when it came out, like, and they looked under a microscope, it was these beautiful crystalline structures that were inside the ice cubes. But then they did the same thing and they said, just like, you're a dumbass, I hate you, like all this like negative low vibrational energy words to the water, and then put it in the freezer, brought it back out, and then all of a sudden it's cloudy and gross and it does not have any sort of crystalline structure to it. So it goes to show that, like, frequency or energy, it does hold weight. It's literally scientifically proven. The way we speak, the way we show up, the energy in which we carry it, and it's more about the energy, not necessarily the words too, because like we have different languages, we have different things,
Hmm.
and like we were talking about with health, like I am healthy versus I am growing, like it doesn't really matter the exact words, it's what's the intention behind it. Are we intending to love something, or are we intending to hurt something? And whatever frequency we're bringing, like that's the frequency that's being received. And if there's someone that doesn't have, or something that doesn't have the ability to release and let go and replace that energy, then of course it's going to hold. Water doesn't really have an opportunity to really shift its own energy. It's our job to like do it for it when we're, speaking to our glass or whatever. But
Hmm.
for that, and that goes with also every dog I've ever met that's called Loki, which is like the god of chaos, is a chaotic dog. So there's another prime example for you.
Yeah, there is a word there's a, oh god, and I can't remember the word. It's such a weird word where something that you put a lot of energy into becomes an entity of its own. I
Mhm.
can't remember. I know there's this thing with thought forms, but there's another one, and I can't think of it. And you said Loki. It's so loaded with so much energy that it becomes that. So it's funny you said dog name. I knew a cat called Loki. Oh my god, this cat was the biggest cat anybody has ever seen. He was the biggest cat going, but so chill. Like this cat couldn't care less. So he didn't embody the name Loki that well. He didn't. He didn't live
Maybe his body did. Like his body was the chaos, but his energy was different.
he had his own, that's for sure. When certain cats just have their own vibe. It
Oh
doesn't
yeah.
matter. You cannot touch them, you cannot do whatever. They just got their own little thing going on. Oh man, god, we're talking about cats and dogs now.
I
do you
love
have
it.
do you have any, by the way, do you have any pets or children?
No. No pets, no children at this
Okay,
time.
doesn't go that way for sure. Oh god. Oh man, how did you come across Reiki, let's say? Because I've heard you mention it a few times. Like, how did that come about in your life?
I mean, again, just miraculous manifestation. So going back
Mm.
to, I was learning from different coaches how to grow my wine business. And in one of the coaching communities,
Mhm.
the my coach was actually forming a cohort to start certifying life and business coaches. And I met this woman within that space who was a Reiki master teacher, and she was a Reiki practitioner. And so we both went through like the coaching certification process and all of that. And at that time, that coach was like, okay, at the end of this cohort, then everyone will have an opportunity within her business to be a life coach at like a lower rate than what she offered or whatever. So it was like we were going to build a company together, was kind of the idea. And then at some point, like literally after I got the certification, I kind of felt like, you know what, this isn't my calling. This isn't where I'm going. This is not where I'm meant to be. And it just worked out perfectly because it was like then and then with it, like I had this thought in the back of my mind, and then she wasn't really giving us any direction. And then 2020 happens, we're all locked down, and then I'm like, what are we gonna do? And I'm like, and it was just this like crazy time. And I'm like, already I'm in the process of working with another coach, and then she messages and she's like, you guys, I just had this moment and I've decided that I am going a completely different route and I'm not going to do this with you guys. And I was like, okay, perfect. I'm not hurt by it. I can now still say that I'm a certified life and business coach. And I now have this freedom to go wherever. And then the lady that I met within that cohort was like offering numerology readings. And I was like, oh, that's something new I've never done before. And so in this numerology reading, she pulls up all this stuff about, being a spiritual leader and a guide, and literally the high priestess, like I pulled this morning, all of this stuff. And she was like, if you're open to it, I'm actually going to launch my Reiki master teacher training, and I would love to have you in it. And I was like, it felt like a full body yes to me. And so
Mm.
I was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. Why not? And so I went into her training. And at that time, I wasn't even reading tarot. She was a tarot reader as well. And she's like, you know what? I really love tarot, and I'm going to incorporate how to read tarot into this Reiki master teacher training. And so like I received both at the same time. And as soon as I got my first tarot deck, I'm like pulling cards and I am like divining like so quickly that I honestly was like, am I doing this right? Like I had a moment of like, am I doing this right? Is this really what it like? I feel like I should be building up at some point. And what I've learned since is that I am a 2-4 generator in my human design, and the 2 is a natural, right? And
Mm.
so this is like a lesson to anyone out there that if you find that you're a natural at something, don't push it to the side. Like celebrate that, hey, this comes easily to you. This is something I'm natural at. You're good at it, especially if you enjoy it. And so yeah, so I got my Reiki master teacher certification and learned tarot in that year with within this training, and now I was able to bring it to my business.
Two in one. Look at that.
Yeah.
And I love what you said about the it being natural and how should I be doing this differently? It's so funny what our minds do, right? Because we could be so good at something and then the mind comes online and oh, okay, maybe I should do this wrong or differently, or I should follow some steps or follow some guidance. When from what you said, you really are like it just came through you as it is,
Yeah.
pure consciousness beaming through, and
Right.
you sound like you're incorporating it, and I love how the magic happens, like everything that's shown into your life, even the fact that the other part, of that didn't feel too well and I'm not sure if I want to do this, and then somebody else came in and like we're not doing this anymore, so the universe guided you anyway into the direction. And I love the flow that you've got, by the way, the flow that you're following. You're not stuck on, oh, but this was supposed to work out, or this, I had all these plans that I wanted to make come to life, and all of that, and getting stuck and wrapped up in. And of course, you're not, because you earlier mentioned, when the fire alarm went, we can spiral down into, oh, this is so bad, it's going to be this and it's going to be that, or, well, whatever. We choose how we give everything energy. And you're very flowy that way. It sounds to me like you're following the flow of life altogether.
100%. 100%. And it makes life feel like so much more free, so much more supported, right? When I have this basis of and I think when we have the basis of down spiraling, it is out of some sort of fear.
Mm,
And I've recently, been reading Conversations with God by Neil Donald Walsh. And in that story, in the series, they talk about all energy is like a derivative of love. And so even if we are operating from fear or anger, we're still operating from a place of love. It's just distorted, right? And so when I look at my life and I'm like, you know what? I am divinely guided and I'm divinely supported, then even if I do have a fear trigger for even like, a second, I can bring myself back to, okay, like that was okay. I feel you. Thank you for being here. But where's the distortion? How can I go back to that expansive feeling of love rather than the contracting feeling of fear, anger, shame, whatever it may be, right? So that I can continue to move forward and grow and thrive and get out of my own head. And that's the other thing, is that I think we put all these rules on ourselves. Like the
mm.
only way that we can receive money is through having a job, or the only way that we can have knowledge is through either years of education or years of experience. And so then we like shrink ourselves in a box, going back to like the tarot, right? How can I definitely thought, how can I be reading so well? I must be doing this wrong because I don't have years of experience or extensive training. Meanwhile, and I was sitting amongst people who have been doing it for 20, 30 years of their life. And, so obviously I can't be at that same level. Like that was how my mind was working. And then I realized I can be. Like, it doesn't matter, like, whether they've had 30 years of training, whether they like came out of the womb pulling cards for themselves, and they're from descended from a line of witches, oracles, whatever. Like, yay, awesome, they've had some extensive training. That's great for them. But guess what? This is my life and my journey, and I can still operate from my high priestess energy because I know, because I know.
Yes. I know because I know. Oh my God. That's giving me goosebumps. I
I
know
cannot say that I coined that. That is actually from a mentor of mine, Jacqueline Shaw. I know because I know,
because
and
I
it's such a
know.
powerful affirmation. I know because I know, I receive because I receive, I do because I do. And really operating from this free space just allows for so much more opening for blessings to flow in, manifestations to come in when we are in this open and pure state.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I think I need to write that down somewhere and stick it on my mirror. I
Yes, please
know
do.
because I know. It's so empowering.
Right.
I
It
find it
is.
so empowering.
It's really empowering because I feel like it's kind of this like societal norm to be like, well, I got this degree from this place and this whatever. And
Mhm.
we have to use so many sources outside of ourselves to edify why we're good at what we do, or why our work provides transformation. But what if we just chose to accept it, that like, this is my work and it's transformative because it's transformative. Like, I don't have to have a list of accolades to make
Yeah.
this work, right? Every time. And I can see, I even catch myself in it. Like, don't get it twisted. I have moments of like having to talk myself up, having to remind myself, again, we're constantly growing and learning. And there are
Mhm.
moments where I'm like, okay, well, my business isn't bringing me the income that I really want right now. So maybe I should look into like becoming a therapist, because that would be like a more mainstream version of what it is I do. And then I just have to go back to school, get a degree, and do this thing and show up. Or I can just own the fact that like I already know because I know. And yeah, I will have like, trauma training, from that experience. But and I might even learn something in a different way, from a more scientific way. But is that really what I want? Am I looking to be like a scientific guide, or am I looking to be a spiritual guide? oh, spiritual. So like let me like own what it is that I'm here for. Let me back myself up and stop trying to betray myself. We're not having a seven of swords moment in our life and betraying what the energy that I'm showing up as. I'm gonna keep going, right? And so we have these conversations. And it's like, oh, that was fear talking. Let me like shift that around and move forward. And this is the what I help people do in my work, right? Whether it's through a tarot reading to bring clarity around what's happening that we might not even see because, we have got our like life blinders on, or maybe we already have this self-awareness about what's going on and now it's time for like to receive coaching and talk about it and make sure like see what's coming through that is maybe unconscious, right? Like bringing forward all of that information so we know that we can make conscious shifts, changes from our choices.
Mm-hmm. I feel like other people external of us are so beneficial, because we know that there's that thing called blind spots, that part. And like you said earlier, when the master knows that, there's, well, I don't know the words that you use. You put it in such a nice way. I know that I don't know. There's things that you know for sure, but there are certain things that we really don't know. We don't know everything there is to know,
Hmm.
because that means that we would probably croak. We'd be on the other end of.
Yes, 100%. That's also my mindset. It's like when I'm done learning, when I'm done growing, that's the end of this lifetime, right? Like
Mhm.
that's where it is. So like if I know everything, if and there's no place to grow, then why am I here?
Yeah.
What's the experience? And I think it's important for us as we're talking about knowing because we know to allow ourselves the space to be like, okay, let's say someone your entire life someone told you that the sky is purple and you were like, okay, the sky is purple because like you learned it when you were a kid and so you were just like, okay, that's purple, that's what the sky is. But all of a sudden someone shows up to you and they're like, the sky is blue, and you're like, huh, you know what? The sky is blue. And you don't have to make it mean anything about like for all the years that you believe that the sky is purple. You can just accept that this is my new reality now and move forward. And so now, yeah, you knew that the sky was purple at one time, but now you can allow yourself to know that the sky is blue and that's totally okay. And then maybe down the line you learned that wait, actually the
There
sky
is
has
no
a
sky.
spectrum depending about what's going on. It could be orange, it could be yellow, it could be green. Like so many things can happen. There's the northern lights. Wait a minute, there's so many opportunities. I am now continuing to grow and you've added on to what you know.
And then you find out that there is no sky at all.
It's all an illusion. We're all in a simulation.
Oh my god, because when you zoom out high enough, you realize that actually, hold on a minute. What I'm seeing as blue from here, or purple, or green, or whatever, it's not even there, which is the trippiest thing, the funniest thing that God, the universe, could have created for us, right?
Right,
Oh,
right.
on the subject of God,
Mm.
what are your beliefs over there? Like how? Because I know God is such a charged word. Like people,
Yes.
every time you hear God, I think the mainstream idea about it is it's a person in the sky. And you said you're reading Neil Donald Walsh's things, and I've read them when I was back in my 20s, and more recently now, and so anyway, I think those books, by the way, not I think, I know for sure, those were the books that kind of took me out of that belief of what God is. And it took me a while to actually be like, oh, there's no punishment. Nobody's gonna be there. I'm going to hell if I sin, right? Because I grew up with that. Like my parents raised me that way. So how do you see? How do you interact? Of course, you're a tarot reader, so and you are into all this woo-woo shit. So how do you perceive God? What is God to you?
Oh, God is, I mean, if we're really going conversations with God, God is me, right?
Wow.
Like if we're really going with that down that line, which I truly believe that we are all aspects of God. God experiencing the world from different perspectives, being able to show up. So like, I grew up as a Baptist, like Christian upbringing, and I have since decided to let go of any sort of religious dogma. So I always say that I'm spiritual and not religious. I believe in God? Yes, but do I also believe that like I am God? And it's so weird to say it out loud because it's such a like grinding kind of conversation, but it's like, yes, like if I have the like if I'm not having to have God do something for me because it all works through me. Like we are oneness, and I believe in the power of oneness. So like I'm God, you're God, we're all God, and then there is like, the highest self is God, is the vision that I have. And so that we're all connected and our all highest self is oneness, and we all work together. And it's really, and I also believe that you get to believe what you want to believe, right? And so, what you, like I said before, your perception, your beliefs are what make your life. And so, you're going to experience what it is that you believe. So, if I believe that I am, and I still talk to God as if as if we're separate. Don't get me wrong. But that's also, it's been I'm 35 years old as of last week. So, like,
Woohoo!
like, I've spent 30 plus odd years seeing God as a separate entity source. So I still kind of fluctuate back between, seeing God and Mother Earth, and all of these energies that I love to tap into as something outside of myself rather than like fractions of myself. And so like I know that they're fractions, but it's still in that embodiment stage of, okay, like we're same but different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I get it.
Yeah.
I get it because it is. I find that similar because we are individuals too, besides
Hmm.
being the wholeness. And I feel like if we truly believe that we were gods, there's a fine line between it being from an ego place and it being from a higher place. But I see it the same, there's a higher self of me, there's a higher
Yes.
version of me. Because if I was fully embodying that, as I said earlier, I probably wouldn't be here. I'd be out there just enjoying space and whatever else,
Right.
because like
Exactly. Exactly. We
right
would be in
right
this
now,
human
yeah.
form if we were already the enlightened version of self.
Yeah, right now I'm having this human experience, and look, for the purpose of this human experience, you can enjoy that cup of tea over there. See?
Yes.
If we were all fully in there, we wouldn't be able to have those experiences. We wouldn't be able to have this conversation. And by the way, this laptop of mine that I'm recording this on, this is God too, It's God expressing itself in whatever, every shape, size, and form it can. And to me, it's just eye-opening and humbling at times when I look at different people, let's say, and I'm like recognizing the God in them, and
Yes.
and it's more humbling when I pass judgment first. When I look at somebody, I'm like, oh, that hair though, or those shoes. I have a thing with shoes. I have a thing with shoes. I have a thing with shoes. Not to say that I've got an obsession with them, but I just love looking at people's shoes and
Hmm.
I judge them accordingly. I'm very open about it too. So then I find myself being like, oh, what the hell? Or I don't know, little judgments that we all go through throughout the day. And then I'm like, oh, there's God. It's
Hmm.
like the second, there's God, there's God. And as soon as I think that, it's like, oh my God, it's like my heart expands, my mind expands, all of me expands, of these souls, this being have chosen to be here in this physical form right now. And I get to interact with them, which is kind of interacting with myself. Just mind blowing. It's just mind blowing, but it's so beautiful at the same time, that we get to experience life. And right now, this very moment that I'm aware that I'm aware that I'm aware, I'm so aware of what I'm doing right now. And when I get these moments, I feel like it's so magical, the fact that we're able to do this. We're able to have this conversation. We're able to, for me, today in particular, it's so, I'm going to say healing. It is
Yeah.
healing. It's very healing and expanding because my day, of course, it's the afternoon. It's 7 nearly here, my end. I don't know what time is your end. Is it like 12, 1 maybe?
It's almost 11 over here.
Oh, even earlier. But it's been a challenging day, I would say, and this has shifted my energy on the polar opposite end of the stick, which I'm very grateful for. I'm grateful for the
Yes.
part that happened earlier. I'm grateful for this part too, because even though when that happens, I'm not that much of, that's a process that I'm still working on. Oh, this is happening. It's okay. Acceptance, I guess. The acceptance part of it. I still have that tendency to, I want to get out of it. I want to
Right.
get out of it, and talking myself out of it when sometimes I know all I need is to love onto myself in whatever that is, just love onto myself. Oh man. So now, because I've got it to this point, and I think you've already touched a little bit on the process that you've got, because like I said, we're all humans, we all have our days. Do you have a certain process that you talk yourself through or work yourself through when you're getting into those not so smooth waters, let's say?
Oh, for sure. I actually I have a free meditation series on my website. Like people you just have to put your name and your email into it, and it's called Activate Your Inner Shift. And so it's like a 4-part process, right? And it's like acceptance is one one of the parts within it. And so it's just like acknowledging, accepting, allowing for space to reframe, and then like reclaiming who it is, where I want to be. And so it talks about each module. It's a module, and then there's a meditation that goes with it that will
Mm.
work you through it. And so I kind of do like a more expedited version, since I was like, I already know this information. So it's just like, all right, cool. Like I can go boom, boom, boom. All right, I've acknowledged what's happening. I've accepted it. Like, let's see the reframe. All right, what am I reclaiming? Let me meditate on like, this is the new version of me right now. And so that's kind of
Right.
how I go through it. But yeah, so if that's something that, anyone's interested in, definitely just go to www.mamateenergy.com. It's like at the top of my homepage, and you can get that for free. So there's that.
Wow, thank you very much. That's pretty
You're
awesome.
welcome.
I mean, the steps that you mentioned, because I've done this program that's called quadrant theory. I can't get that word out.
Hmm.
Quadrant. It's normally easy. And it's about the 4 parts of the brain, and the way
Hmm.
you describe them, it's literally the whole process of going through those 4 stages. And I'm like, of course, because you can map anything. Like, this is what the people that have put this together, that's exactly what they realize. You can map so many things according to this quadrant. You can put like star signs, let's say, or types of personalities, like everything you can put in there. So the steps that you just said there, the same. They go in different quadrants of the brain. That's pretty awesome.
That's
Anyway.
hilarious. And I've never studied that ever. So that's also like a reminder that, like, going back to that natural thing, that we all have our own magical medicine. And if we don't bring it forward, someone else will. It might be
Mm.
used in completely different words, and it's all magical. And also there's space for both. So like if you are creative and you're like, oh, I wanted to create that thing, but now I just saw somebody else created it before me, create it in your own way, in your own words, get out there and share your magic.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, even that, see, because it's built up on Jill Bolte Taylor. She had a stroke, and she
Mm.
recognized that there's different parts of the brain that talk to each other, and they're different personalities in each of their own. But she had it only for that. And my friends that have done the quadrant theory are putting all, there's like so much more that you can add to it. So yeah, it's like a crazy cool thing, but I love that too. I'm putting this thought out. I have this idea, somebody else in the universe is already going to pick it up somewhere, because we're all connected, right? The
Yes.
Once the idea is out, somebody else is going to pick up on it and put it out there and do something with it. But I love the energy as well of, I don't need to get angry about it, oh, somebody else
Hmm.
stole my light, let's say, because people tend to do that too. Oh, somebody else is ahead of me or whatever. No, we're all just at our own little pace and doing our own little thing and bringing our own magic. And even that, like you said, not everybody resonates with everybody, right?
Hmm.
So I could say the same thing as you're saying it, maybe with different words and a different kind of format. People might resonate with you, people might resonate with me, or not with you and not with me. So this is the fun part of, not everybody resonates with everybody. And there's, even if it's the
Exactly.
same thing, at least we can find somebody that we really enjoy listening to or talking to or learning from or sharing with. So we all have our own little magic in there
Yes.
somewhere.
Exactly. So perfect.
Yeah. Anyway, where can people find you? Like, if they want to come and have a reading from you, because you mentioned readings, and anything else like meditations. You mentioned your website. Is there anywhere else where they can reach out to you?
Yeah. I am on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook. You
Mhm.
can find me on Instagram and TikTok as Mama T Energy. My podcast is Mama T Energy. My website is mamateenergy.com. And then if you are a Facebook user, I am Tiara Janae on Facebook on my personal profile. So feel free to shoot me a friend request. Just let me know where you found me and we can connect. I also have a business page called Mama T on Facebook as well. So so many avenues, and I can send you the links so they can be in the show notes as well.
Yes, that would be great. If you can send them after, that would be amazing.
Yes.
And you have been amazing. And you are amazing. And I am so grateful for you and for accepting my invitation. Part two.
I
Second
love
one.
it. You're so welcome. And if you want, I'm down to do a card pull for you and the audience. What would you like to do?
Oh, okay. I don't know. You do your thing. Let's do. Do you want to do the 11 one? No, 3 would be fine. 3 minutes or whatever. How many readings you do?
I love it.
Do
So
a
let's do
collective. How about you do a collective? Let's just whatever for
yeah,
whoever's
let's do
watching. Let's say there's got to be a message that whoever's watching is gonna resonate with for sure.
for sure. All right. And I love this because it's the full moon. I'm hosting a
Mhm.
full moon circle tomorrow. And so
Nice.
there's like I can already feel the full moon energy ready to rock and
That's why the
roll.
alarm
So
was going off earlier.
right, it's all fired up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally. All
Literally.
right.
And you haven't
So
burned, so
I love it. Let's see. What does the collective need to hear today? Beautiful. I feel like this is very much in alignment with all of the things that we've talked about. So the
yes.
first card that showed up is the Temperance card. And so with this Temperance card, it is an invitation for us to bring ourselves back into balance, bringing ourselves back into our true knowing of who we are and what we want to bring forward in this world. And the more that we know who we are, we understand our magic, our medicine, we get to master it. And that's what this Eight of Pentacles is, right? This is the invitation of mastery. So mentioned being the natural so often. Just because we're a natural at something doesn't mean that that's the end, right? Like we still get the opportunity to keep practicing and showing up and pulling, like for me, pulling cards. I still pulled cards every single day to build that confidence and
Mhm.
that conviction and what it is that I'm a natural at. So we have to continue to show up and practice our craft, practice our medicine so we can build that mastery, so that we can build that knowledge. And I love that it just hit me that there is like literally a moon phase going on in the background of this image. And again, I already brought up the full moon, right? And I said that before we even started this reading. So that's just confirmation that we're bringing forward this energy to really release all of the bullshit, because full moon's a great time to release and let go. So releasing anything that tells you you can't, anything that tells you that this is the way, this is how you're supposed to show up in the world, this is how you're supposed, like you're shitting all over yourself. Don't need to do that, right? Like follow your own personal mastery in the way that feels right and good and expansive to you. And that is all like culminated in this Seven of Wands energy that's like really like ignore what other people have to say, ignoring like the bullshit, ignoring the dissenters and the haters, and really again owning and staying in your personal power. And I want, where did I put the book? Because I know that I'm reading from the Light Seers Tarot, and I love this one because it comes with affirmations for each card. And so I feel called to pull out the affirmation for the Seven of Wands because I know it's like pretty powerful and I just don't have it memorized, and that's okay.
I love that.
And it says, I am deserving of this success and I will bravely shine my light into the world. So again, like in that, it's saying that, like, I am deserving of this success. So as you're showing up in your natural state, sharing your medicine, if someone else is like, you need this experience or you need this certification, you need da, 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 da. No, honey, going back to that Eight of Pentacles, we've already mastered it, right? We've done our work. I am deserving of this success. You can take 12 seats and get out of here. Right. And then it's like, I will bravely shine my light into the world. And so there's your invitation to hold that conviction, hold who it is that like you are and show up in your power. And I love that the imagery, like she's in a crystal ball, like nothing can touch her. Like all these people are down here with their wands trying to, like, I don't know, maybe steal her magic or change her magic. And she's like, nope, I have my beautiful protective bubble. I am in my bubble and I am moving forward in a way that is enlightening to me and my own personal mastery. And my mastery gets to be mine and your mastery gets to be yours. And if they're in alignment, great, we can resonate together. And if they're not, great, you can resonate over there and I'm going to resonate over here. And we're going to bring in the people that we are meant to attract in. And it's all perfect.
Thank you so much. I can't tell you how much the end, what you said, I mean, I resonate with all of it, by the way. So this collective message is pointed at me as well. The bubble perspective, because literally a few weeks ago, I recorded a little clip about talking about being in a bubble, and growing up in a bubble, and but from a more like a bit of a negative tinge to it of not being in the world as much, or just keeping away from everything else. But then there's the other perspective that I just showed right now, like everything can be there and I'm still in my joy, let's say,
Yes.
or in my happiness, and nothing can touch it. And even like the whole thing that you said resonated so much with the things that we've spoken about, being in your own power and focusing on yourself and never mind what everybody else is doing. And my lordy.
Yes. I literally, it's so funny because I literally just recorded an episode talking about personal power versus circumstantial power, right? And so like this Seven of Wands again is that our like being in our personal power. It's not saying that, oh, like circumstantial power is like now saying I have mastered it because I have a degree in it, versus like I know because I know. I know because I know is personal power. Circumstantial power is I have a expensive piece of paper that says that I am worthy, versus me saying I'm worthy, right? And so, not that there's anything wrong with expensive piece of paper. I literally have one behind me. I have another one in front of me. So like, been there, done that.
There's a piece of paper, nothing wrong with them. Oh my god, this is so good. I know, right? Because everybody's got their own way of finding things and figuring out things and finding their own purpose, their own journey, their own path. Everybody's got their different ways. Sometimes the paper helps, sometimes it doesn't help. It doesn't.
And I will say, regardless of the classes that I took in college was an amazing, expansive experience for me, outside of just not just from the education perspective, but the life perspective that I received. So I loved my college days. So there's nothing wrong with it. Go
100%, 100%. Because I'm the same. Like I went. You guys have the word college. We call it more university, right? So same thing. But I went to uni just for. Thinking about it now, it was the connections, the people, the things that I've learned outside of the school system, the ways in which I've grown and connected with other people. So I totally get it. Oh my lord, this has been so good.
I love it.
So good. I am so grateful for you and for your massive, humongous, ginormous gooiness energy that you bring. Oh my God, I love your energy so much. And I'm very grateful for you sharing it in here and sharing a little bit of your magic right there, with your tarot readings as well. I'm very
Thank you
grateful.
so much. Thank you for having me. And we are ending at 11:11 a.m. on my end. So I just love that.
Fire alarms can go off now. Come on. Just fucking go, alarms. Oh my God, this is so cool. Thank you. And thank you, anybody that's watching. And by the way, this is the first time I'm actually going to say this. If anybody resonated with this, please let me know in the comments. If you would like to connect with Mama T here, oh my God, reach out to her, find her, do whatever, produce more magic into the world. We all need a little bit of that, of showing our own magic into the world. That's it.
100%. Love you guys.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye.